Let's talk about some pretty brazen irony coming out of Minnesota today. So, Minnesota just sued Texas Governor Greg Abbott in federal court. They're trying to force him to extradite an ICE agent named Christian Castro. And they're trying to force him to extradite Castro to stand trial in Minneapolis. Castro is charged with shooting a man in the leg through the front door of a house and then lying about what happened. He's been sitting in a jail in Cameron County, Texas since May. And under Texas law, he can walk free as early as next week if Abbott doesn't sign the extradition papers. Minnesota is scrambling to make sure that doesn't happen. They're asking a judge for an emergency order to keep him locked up. On the surface, that sounds pretty straightforward. Someone's charged with a crime, they should face the charges, fine. What makes this whole thing hard to swallow is that for years, and especially in the last year and a half, Minnesota has operated under policies that treat ICE detainers very differently. Local jails, particularly in Hennepin County, get requests from ICE to hold people who are in the country illegally and have criminal records, and they are routinely declining those requests. And the numbers aren't small. Hennepin County alone has turned down hundreds of those detainers, and statewide, the total runs well over 1,000 declined requests. The result is that people ICE wants to take into custody finish their local charges or don't and walk right out the front door instead of being handed over to the federal agents. DHS has publicly accused Minnesota of releasing hundreds or more of criminal illegal immigrants this way. And the county level pattern of this happening is not even in serious dispute. Many local jails simply do not hold people for ICE after their local cases are done. So we end up with this situation today. When the person in custody is an illegal immigrant with a criminal record and ICE has a detainer, the preferred outcome in Minnesota, release. But when the person in custody is the ICE agent himself, charged with a state crime, the state of Minnesota will go to federal court, demand a restraining order, and fight to make sure he is not released. That is not principle. That is hypocrisy. Minnesota's officials want us to believe that this is about accountability and the rule of law. But the real problem is the opposite of what they're performing right now. The real problem is a sustained, deliberate policy of refusing to turn criminal illegal immigrants over to federal authorities who are legally charged with removing them. That choice puts communities at risk. It undermines the basic idea that immigration law is supposed to mean something. And it creates the exact double standard we're watching play out in real time today. Soft on the people ICE is trying to deport, suddenly rigid when the person in the cell is one of those agents enforcing the law. If Minnesota actually cared about public safety and consistent enforcement of the law, they would start by cooperating with ICE on the criminal, illegal immigrants already in their jails. Until they do, this lawsuit does not look like justice. It looks like Minnesota demanding standards from an ICE agent that it refuses to apply to the criminal illegal immigrants sitting in their jails.